Hello, everybody. The sun is shining, summertime is here, and it is time for episode 167 of the Grunge Bible Podcast. This is Chris Salona, and I am here with Ethan Shalloway. June's here, and I'm pretty fired up about it. How are you doing today, Ethan?
I'm doing really, really well. League play is about to start. The softball seasons are going.
I'm fired up.
The midday baseball games, the league is happening. You know, you're just getting into the rhythm here of kind of letting time go by. And
I feel like I'm coming alive.
Yeah. The sun's getting hotter. I'm getting sunburned here and there. I got salt on my skin all the time. Yeah, dude, we're about to live life for the next 4 months.
Yeah, we are. It's the best. I mean, there's nothing better than, finishing your workday and still knowing that you have like 4 or 5 hours of sunlight. Still, like it's sunny out till 9. You just wanna go out and do stuff, and that's what I've been doing already, and that's what I intend on doing this entire summer. We're gonna be playing the hits all summer long.
All summer long. I cannot wait for July 4th this year.
Yeah, man, it's gonna be good.
July 4th is gonna be incredible. We just had Memorial Day weekend this past weekend, and I don't know, man. It really felt like summer was kicking off.
Yeah, it's always interesting in the States with Memorial Day because you have like perhaps one of the most solemn holidays as like the kickoff to summer. But we had good weather here, and I was spending a lot of time with some good friends going out, having some cold ones outside, which is where you want to be at this time of year. So we're rolling forward.
Yeah. And all these long extended weekends are so important when you're working all week, and especially if you got a job outside.
Especially if you're taking care of business.
Especially if you're taking care of business. Yeah, there's, and then like I said, so we've been on this radio, 60s, primarily 60s radio kick. And, and just in general, sports talk. I'm like loving all of the playoffs that are going on. Like I'm watching the pregame and the post games. Like I love the talking heads of the world right now.
A lot of personality out there.
Yeah. And holidays during the summer is like the epitome of radio talk shows, like top 500s, top 100s, just put on the radio because you get to hang out. And I love the idea about it. So, I'm channeling all of my inner Don Steeles and Dick Playoff Richards and all of them of the world.
Absolutely. Yeah, this is invariably another one of the themes that we decide we carry over from our personal lives to the podcast.
Yes.
But it feels right, and this is what it's all about because this is our space. So we hope everybody out there is doing fantastically well here in the month of June. This episode is coming out on June 3rd, 2024, bright and early at 6:30 a.m. Eastern. But wherever you are, whenever you are, we hope that you're doing great, and we hope that it's a good time in your life, because I'd say it's a good time in our lives right now.
It is, yeah. It is really good. I'm about to head to Idaho for a meet, and hopefully next week I'm competing in New York.
Nice.
So season's really, we're in the thick of it.
Yeah, we are
in the thick of the night, and so we're doing good. And there's just a lot. Yeah, there's a lot on deck, and just seems like there's endless possibilities. So we're really excited.
Yeah, in a lot of ways, like this is a kickoff to like the next phase of the year, obviously, because I mean the winter time is kind of dormant a little bit, and you can kind of focus on different things, and then the spring things are kind of awakening again, and you're getting back in the groove, and now it's just all systems go. So in the spirit of that, today we are going to go through our top 10 songs each for summer 2024. You'll have some grunge favorites, you'll have some not grunge stuff perhaps thrown in, but it's like I said at the top, it's just hits. And that's what summertime is for.
Yeah, exactly. And I think we both took a little bit of a different spin on this exercise, which will be good. We'll kind of get into how we made our list and what we were thinking about when we put them together. But it was a lot of fun. And, everybody loves a good list,
Yeah, people love lists.
Yeah, and the important thing is, like, there's so much good music. There's so many, like, we could have easily said, like, okay, it needs to be 60s. It needs to be all 60s music, and we would have killer lists right now. Or we're like, all right, we're doing 80s, and we'd, you can find so much. So it's obviously tough to make a top 10. So this is just our top 10s and just how we're feeling right now. And like I said, we have a specific vein that we decided to do these, to make these lists in. So we'll get to that.
Yeah, absolutely. And before we get to that, we do need to thank everybody that keeps us on the airwaves each week. We have a Patreon, $2, $5, and $10 tier linked in the show notes. We also have some merch if you want to rep Grunge Bible on these hot summer nights and let everybody know that you're the coolest cat in town. You can go and purchase some merchandise, also linked in the show notes. And also, all throughout the month of May, we had a link to Brooke Muma's Cystic Fibrosis Foundation fundraiser. We had her on episode number 163 at the beginning of May, because May was Cystic Fibrosis Awareness Month. We are happy to report that Brooke has reached her goal and has raised $2,500 for the CF Foundation in Philadelphia. So shout out to anybody that listened to her story, maybe donated some money. I know we enjoyed the process of becoming informed about that and helping out in different ways that we could. So awesome stuff for the month of May. Congrats to Brooke. Great month, great initiative, and thank you for everybody for listening in and sharing that.
Yeah, that's awesome to hear. Really great. I love that we can come back 5 weeks later and give an update. Yeah. That's great. But the war is not over, right? There's still a lot going on, and you got to stay on it. So maybe in the future we'll get back to it sometime.
Yeah. So let's just get into it, man. I'm feeling like we're ready to roll a little bit. So we've got This Day in Music for June 3rd. We've got some birthdays, and I'm going to kick it over to you to start here.
Yeah, I'd love to take the first one because I kind of went down a rabbit hole because it's something that I hadn't really looked into it. I just knew the story. Like I knew the broad stroke. So in 1952, June 3rd, Billy Powell of Leonard Skinner was born, and he is the keyboardist. And he actually is a survivor of the plane crash. So everyone knows the plane crashed in, what was it?
I think 77.
77, yeah. 77. And 6 people died, notably the lead singer and guitarist and his sister, backup vocals, and a few others. And a few people survived. And it was like an old airplane that it was like supposed to be their last flight that they were going to take. And it's just really tragic, and there's a lot of accounts on it, and it's crazy to think. So the guys were 28, 29 when they died, and
that our age.
I never really understood that they were that young, really.
Yeah.
And to lose a major band like that is crazy. And then of course you have the people that survived, the survivor's guilt, and Billy Powell, he passed away in 2009, R.I.P. But if we're talking summer songs, and Freebird is always at the in top 5 for sure for those countdowns.
Whole lot of Skynyrd,
yeah, a whole lot of Skynyrd, and quite an incredible composition to a song. And the story, I was just kind of reading it, and I was just like, holy cow! Like I really didn't realize like the age and just like everything around it, and it would just be. I'm just trying to think of like. Yeah, if a plane went down right now, and it was kind of like when Kobe passed away, it's the same thing.
Somebody who's the center of the public consciousness, and the plane crash actually happened 3 days after the release of their 5th album. They were working for MCA at the time, and Street Survivors had come out, and then the plane went down. And the original album artwork for Street Survivors notably featured the band kind of standing in what looks to be like an alleyway or a street, and they're surrounded by fire. Very unfortunate, obviously. And then in the wake of the plane crash, MCA decided to amend the album cover, and all subsequent releases removed the fire from it. And that's just kind of an enduring mark of of this unfortunate event. But we can celebrate the birthday of Billy Powell. And they went on, and Skynyrd regrouped, and they played many, many years on the road. An iteration of Skynyrd is still on the road now, although there are no original members left. So for all intents and purposes, you've got a Leonard Skynyrd cover band out there, still riding those rails.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And that, you got to keep the name going, let it live on. So.
Next birthday we've got is 1964 on June 3rd. Kerry King of Slayer, the co-lead guitarist, was born. He is one of 2 members of the band Slayer to be in the band throughout their entire run of 43 years. And I don't know anything about Slayer. Do you?
I mean, of course, from Guitar Hero, playing some of their songs, and it just being extremely difficult. And I'm not a huge Slayer enthusiast. Although,
it's a different ballpark for me.
Yeah, I just know that like a lot of people would wear Slayer shirts in high school, and everybody would call them posers because no one really listens to Slayer like that. At least when you're 18 and the 2010s,
right?
It's just not. No, it's just not true. But 43 years is quite the run for a thrash metal band. So I thought that was pretty interesting. Like that is quite. I mean, they are really big in the. Yeah, they're definitely big in the world. So good for them.
Yeah.
Moving last birthday we're going to shout out Mike Gordon in 1965. He is the bass player for Phish. And my cousins are huge Phish fans, and like I put on the notes, I said once a year my cousin shows me a picture that he took with Mike Gordon a few years back, and he says Mike's a great guy.
That's awesome.
He always shows me, have I showed you this picture? But yes, you showed me this picture, Chad.
You know what's funny? Like we all have those
Chad
people,
and Corey Shalloway.
Yeah, we all have those people in our lives, and I think in some instances we are those people that we will meet a public figure, or someone will meet a public figure for 45 seconds, right? And for the rest of their life, they will be like, "Oh yeah, you remember that time I met like Dick Peterson, outside of the Aragon in '93, like." Great guy, couldn't have been a nicer guy. It's like they had an interaction for less than a minute. It's like what a beautiful guy. He was such a
really
sweetheart
cool,
to all of us.
Down to earth, just real, like just awesome.
Yeah,
I love it. Yeah, and you get the picture of them just like standing there, kind of half smiling, maybe a thumbs up or something.
Exactly. We got to act fast. I mean, the time is limited. Let's move into the events on this day, June 3rd. So we're going to start in 1964. And on June 3rd, 1964, during a photo session, Ringo Starr was taken ill. The man behind the kit went down, and he began to suffer from a case of tonsillitis and pharyngitis. A couple days before, a world tour for the Beatles was about to begin. And with that world tour beginning, they had to call a lifeline, and they enlisted drummer Jimmy Nicol to come over and to run through some songs and have a fire wagon rehearsal for this tour. And Jimmy Nicol ended up being a Beatle for 11 days until the great Ringo Starr, sometimes known as the worst drummer in the Beatles, before he recovered from his illness, and he took his seat upon the kit once again for the rest of that tour. But you imagine, like, that's like one of those things, like, if you're a Beatle for 11 days, I am never letting people forget that.
Right, it's like taking a picture. It's like the most extreme version of taking a picture with people. Like he definitely got some photos and obviously some tape of him in the Beatles, and he has that for forever. I mean, that's the best. Like you get to be in the Beatles, but not really be in the Beatles. Love that. There's Nichols, man. I
know. Caleb Nichols, you got to watch out for them. As long as they don't take a spill.
So moving ahead, in 1967, The Doors' Light My Fire was released in the U.S., where it went to number 1 on the single chart. And 2 months later, when they were booked to appear on the Ed Sullivan Show, they were asked to change the lyrics from "Girl, We Couldn't Get Much Higher," as the sponsors were worried that it would talk too positively about drug reference. And the band agreed to do so. And when they did a rehearsal, they used the amended lyrics. But during the live performance, lead singer Jim Morrison had other plans, and he brought back the original lyric, after which they would never appear on the Ed Sullivan Show. And this is right in line with exactly rock and roll and how you would say, like, you say you're gonna do one thing, but when it comes, you gotta stick to your guns and play the song as originally written. So
exactly. I got a couple things to say about this real quick. There's another notable instance of that. Rage Against the Machine appeared on the BBC, and they played Killing in the Name of, and it was under the condition, like, okay, you guys can play Killing in the Name of as long as the part that shouldn't be on television at the end, as long as you don't say that. And obviously Rage and Zach De La Rocha directly went in and started screaming, "Fuck you, I won't do what you tell me," which is just perfect juxtaposition with the ask. There's been a long running theme of this on the radio waves, obviously. Like even songs like Rocky Mountain High by John Denver was placed on a blacklist here and there on different radio stations over the time because the word high was in there, and heaven forbid, right? You can't be doing that. And my last point about this, Ethan, you and I have been spending a lot of time recently listening to old radio shows from 93 KHJ in Los Angeles, and just think about what an electric time it must have been, in June of 1967, hearing a song like Light My Fire for the first time with one of of your favorite Boss Radio DJs, the Boss Jocks, premiering it for you. Like we ran into one where they played Jumpin' Jack Flash by the Rolling Stones like a month after it came out, and you imagine like you're cruising down Mulholland Drive or something, or you're on the Hollywood freeway and you hear these songs for the first time. Pretty wild. I mean, that it's different now because I mean you stream it, it comes out at midnight, a new song, and you stream it when you get up, or if you're still up at that
probably
time.
Like 7 times too.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, This one you had to wait for it. It's like, had to wait. I got to stay by the radio. I hope they play the new Stones single.
Yep, or you're in the car and it came on and it was like, this is the only chance I have to hear it until I either buy the record, which I can't get to the store, or it comes on again in the next hour or something, or another station. So yeah, so much more elusive back in the day. And I love the idea. That was just the best. And that's when we get to our list, that's kind of how I was thinking about it. Like,
cool.
You have no control over the radio and what's going to be played. So you're just crossing your fingers.
You really had to do the work and wait for it. We'll move up to 1977, on June 3rd of 77. Bob Marley and the Wailers released their album Exodus, featuring hits such as Jamming, Waiting in Vain, Three Little Birds, and One Love. Talk about an album that is going to live forever and that people are going to listen to forever. I mean, I grew up well after the Bob Marley era, but the thing about Bob Marley is, he may be gone and this album may be many years old, but at this point on earth, there are many people who are in their Bob Marley era and they're listening to Exodus. And in fact, in 1999, Time Magazine named Exodus the best album of the 20th century. Strong praise for a great album.
Yeah, this was when I looked up the this day in music. This was number one. This is it. This is the most important thing that happened. Exodus was, changed the landscape of reggae music and music in general. And it's true. I mean, it
brought it to the West
amazing.
In a big way.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I'm surprised that was the mantelpiece for the events on June 3rd, because Ethan, I'll let you take it away for this next one.
Yeah,
I can't believe this one wasn't ranked ahead of Exodus.
So in 2000, June 3rd, 2000, Kenny Chesney and Tim McGraw were arrested in Buffalo, New York after Chesney ran away with a mounted reserve deputy's horse, and McGraw attacked deputies that tried to control him. So right there, this is just unreal. So
there's so many moving parts to this, including a horse that was stolen by Kenny Chesney.
A horse with no name.
A horse with no name. Wild horses couldn't drag me away.
So apparently Chesney asked to sit on the horse outside of Ralph Wilson Stadium. Naturally, you see a horse like,
hey, can I sit on that horse?
Hey, do you mind if I take a picture on the horse? And the daughter of the deputy gave him permission to do so. Then Chesney mounted the horse and rode away. He was told to stop, but ignored the orders from the other deputies, naturally, because you're on the horse.
Once you're on the horse, that's it.
The deputies were then attacked by Tim McGraw and members of his entourage, as Chesney was charged with disorderly conduct and released on bail. McGraw was charged with a second-degree assault, obstructing governmental administration, menacing, and resisting arrest. It's just amazing. If I had a chance, if me and you were out there and we had a chance to reenact this, and we had enough fame where it wouldn't matter if we did something like this, because that's just they probably all right, hey Tim, I'm gonna go ride this horse. You gotta have my back.
I'm sure they were both stone cold sober when they did this. My question here with this story is, the deputy's daughter gave them permission to mount this horse. What? The deputy's daughter presumably was not a member of the mounted reserve. So what authority, what jurisdiction did this person have to give them permission?
Was she?
Exactly. Are you getting permission from a 20-year-old, a 25-year-old, or is it a 9-year-old? It's yeah, you can get on my parents' horse real quick. And then obviously, that's the one rule of letting people sit on horses for photo ops. You can't control the situation at that point, because it's not just, bringing a person. You've got to contend with a horse. And once they start riding that sucker, all bets are off.
And you got to assume that Kenny, he knows his way around riding a horse.
You'd think he knows his way around an equestrian atmosphere. Yeah, absolutely. So then the resulting of that as well, McGraw was released on a hefty $2,500 bail. And that was the end of that. That is a good rock and roll story for two men who are not particularly rock and roll.
Yeah, and we hit reggae, we hit some country stuff, we got the Doors.
We got the Beatles in there, obviously,
of course,
because
the Beatles made it.
Beatles, man.
But like, you know, for good stories in music, and kind of when we're looking through, there's amazing. It's amazing what kind of stuff is recorded and on there is like substantial. Yeah. And you know, we always kind of pick and choose. It's like what's interesting or what's good, and these ones made the most sense for today.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how agree. I feel heading into the summer. I just want to steal a horse, but like again, like if you steal a horse, like why did Tim McGraw like what were the people doing that he felt like he needed to like it was already done?
How escalated had the situation become exactly?
It's like, yeah, like what is he doing to help the situation and let Kenny ride a little longer? Like he's on a horse, everybody's on foot.
Yeah.
So
kind of wild.
Probably didn't need to get involved in the officers. But
you know how when we said that when we reached 500,000 followers, we were going to record wood in a studio.
Yep.
If we reach $2 million, we got to steal a horse.
$2 million?
2 million followers, excuse me. or if we ever make $2 million off of Grunt Bible, we'll steal a horse.
We will 100% steal a horse.
That's amazing.
If we reach $2 million.
$2 million of what? Let's get into these lists, Ethan. So I think what we should do, lay it down for me and tell me your philosophy behind your list. I will tell you my philosophy behind mine. If you have any honorable mentions, we can chat about those real quick, and I'll share mine, and then we'll just go song for song, 10 through 1, and reveal our top songs for summer 2024. So talk me through it. What was your modus operandi for this this list? Because people love lists and people love hearing why lists are the way they are.
Yeah, so I'm picturing probably a Wednesday, right in the middle of the week. It's a hot summer day, and we just got to the job site, and me and Andy, my old boss, we got and this is a kind of a true story. You know, we had this one time where we had to build a walkway, so a little bit of digging, a little bit of laying, and we got a full day of work ahead of us. And, it's good work, but we need the radio. We always need the radio. And like, that was my job back in the day. So I'm just picturing, it's like, all right, Ethan, get the radio out, like throw on our favorite station. And this was back, we're going to say it takes place in the 90s, maybe like 96 or both say 99. And, there's a top 10 that comes up. It's top 10 summer songs. And we're both like, oh, hell yeah. We have a good hour block ahead of us. Like, what is the pit boss going to play? What is the radio boss head going to play? We got 10 songs. We have no control. And we're just hoping that they play our favorite songs in rock and roll. So like, if I'm outside, I mean, there's a ton of songs that are good for outside and working. But I went with a lot of the big four plus STP in my list. I mean, it's pretty much exclusively that because that's what we like to listen to on the job. Yeah. That's what came closer. And they have and all of the song titles / lyrics seem to have something to do with, working or, doing something for somebody else, right? Like, we're building something for somebody else. So, and just like the dog days of summer. So that's kind of where my list kind of stems from. And, I'm pretty excited about it because I can picture like every time one of these songs come on, Andy would look like, oh, this is a good tune, and then we jam out. So there has to be some, in most cases, there's some sort of like sing along type vibe. Mm-hmm. I liked having guitar solos had to be in there and just had to be high energy for the most part. But yeah, it was kind of in that vein. And then of course, like, picture halfway through at the end, like the homeowner comes out and be like, you guys are working really hard. Do you guys want a beer? Maybe an IC Light?
Exactly. It's probably been in like their garage fridge for like the last 7 years, but man, does it taste good.
Oh, true story. We did this exact thing. We built a walkway and we pretty much finished. And the lady found out, like we were talking and I was going to Pittsburgh and I was like, yeah, I'm from Pittsburgh, or I'm going back to Pittsburgh at the end of the summer. And she's like, oh, I'm from Pittsburgh or whatever. And then she went and she came back. She had IC Light, Iron City Light.
Right on.
And she was like, yeah, this, like, my husband loves this. And she gave it to me and it was like, like I said, 90 degrees. And it was, I don't know if you've ever worked like really hard and when you're still in the heat and you crack open that beer, like I drank it like a soda. Like I drank it so fast, obviously right in front of the boss, and he did the same, because it was just like, dude, this is just the most refreshing thing I've ever had.
Yeah,
I don't know how else to explain it. It just like hit so
no
perfect.
other way to say it.
No,
I
it
love
was like
that.
The nectar, dude.
Yeah, that's a good philosophy for this list. Very fitting. There's a lot of things that come to my mind if I were to make my list kind of geared towards that. But my list is my MO for it was a little bit different. So something about me and just like the way I approach music in the summertime, like it's time for the hits. Like I don't really spend as much time in the summertime as I do in the fall or winter or spring, exploring and trying to find new music. It's like the summertime for music is the show. It's the major leagues. Like you get called up and like the job that needs to be done, and you call on your best players to do that. The best pieces that you have in your deck, they're coming out and they're doing what they're known to do and doing what they're born to do. So my philosophy was like, so much of it is revolving around like being in the car, like with the boys, going somewhere that you're going to have a good time, that you're going to be, outside doing something fun that you can really only do in the summertime. So with this in mind, my list was kind of relying heavily on some hits and just, good things you want to listen to in the car when you got that feeling of excitement, anticipation, of going to just do something enjoyable, making some memories.
You don't have much time, so you need the hits.
Exactly. You just got to break glass in case of emergency type stuff.
That's how it should be. Like the winter is like the pre-show.
I don't want to research in the summer. I know what I need. The summer playlist always come back.
The spring is the opener. The spring is the opener, and then the summer is the headliner, and then the fall is kind of the after party type of thing.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Like, we need to play the songs we didn't hear over the summer.
Yeah. Do you have any honorable mentions for your list before we get in?
I got a few.
Okay, we could probably name them.
I was really close to having December by Collective Soul as my number 10. I don't know why. It just seemed like it was kind of a feel good song, and I kind of had it on there. There's like definitely a ton. Like I kind of wrote down like 5 songs from all the big bands that could have been in there. Yeah. And the other one that I would say is an honorable mention is Down in a Hole. Almost put it on the list, but decided, maybe go a little more upbeat for most of them. So totally.
That's a great tune. I've got some honorable mentions. All of these are hashtag not grunge, but they're fantastic songs for the summer. So just to give them their due, a couple of them almost made the list, but I had to make cuts because there's only 10 slots on a top 10 list. Songs such as One Bourbon, One Scotch, One Beer by George Thorogood.
Oh, nice.
The Boys Are Back in Town by Thin Lizzy. Hey, What Can I Do by Led Zeppelin. Any and all Canned Heat songs I think are perfect for the summertime, and also kind of in the vein of that like reggae type sound, a little number called 5446 That's My Number by Toots and the Maytals. It is just you just want to be on a boat drinking a beer with that song. So honorable mentions, perfect for your summertime, but almost perfect for this list, but I had to make some cuts.
Yeah, it's tough making the 10 song list and
how do you
stuff.
How do you differ between 10 and 11?
Yes, and it's definitely hard to order them too. I found it a little bit difficult, and it's a toss up at the end of the day because they're all great songs. I had to scramble
to order my list because I wasn't sure if we were gonna number them or just give 10, but I'm pretty content with my numbering here. So with that being said, how about we get into number 10?
That sounds great. I'll go first.
Yeah.
This is a song that needs to be played when you're on the job, and that is No Excuses by Alice in Chains.
Oh, yeah.
Hands are bruised from breaking rock all day. It's got great drums, got a great lively guitar, and every day it's something different,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that song, in an alternate universe, that is the Wood of Grunge Bible, because that was the original that we used to send back and forth, working outside in the summer, working on the farm, working on the job site, working on the construction site. We used to send that one all the time, and then slowly it transitioned into us sending Into the Flood again to one another. So somewhere out there in another world, we are putting No Excuses out on the page every Monday, or maybe at some point every week. So that is a great number 10. My number 10 is going to be from the Stone Temple Pilots, Interstate Love Song, classic summer song, obviously. It's got a lot of those elements that you like. It's a good driving song. It's a good outside song. The guitar on that is just scintillating. So that's going to be my 10.
I'm glad you have STP in there. STP is kind of like, obviously, like a lot of big four we like to talk about, but STP is the summer band of those five. Like, they are the band that takes the cake. They have the most driving songs. My number 9 is Tripping on a Hole in a Paper Heart.
Nice.
Paper Heart. So it is just another great tune that is like driving. Really, the drums are kind of moving the whole time. It's strong, and I love it. And I just think that it's not like one of the main ones. Like, I don't know, the songs that you kind of go to right away. Like, I kept Plush off the list and stuff a little bit. You know, maybe people like that song the most by them. And I kept Interstate Love Song off as well. But I got another one coming.
That's great. I like that. Good representation from both on both of our lists from STP so far. My number 9 is going to be In Hiding by Pearl Jam. And this kind of goes back to, man, the summer that I fell in love with Pearl Jam and grunge as a genre was that summer that I was working outside. And there's something about that opening riff that just screams summertime, screams like that point in my life where I had a really good summer that year. And this is still one that I listen to much more frequently in the summer than any other time. And I enjoy it. It really sets the tone for me. So,
man, he went from saying I'm going to play all the hits to
I gave a disclaimer. I mentioned Toots and the Maytals. Of course, they're not all hits. They can't all be.
Oh, wow. That's good, man. That's good.
Yeah,
my next song is the only representation by Nirvana, and I chose Serve the Servants.
Cool.
Because this one has a groove to it that, we just love as, say, a group, me and Andy, and we've played it a few times, and I just picture it coming on, and we just, like, for some reason, really enjoy this song. Yeah. So that one always helped us get through a day.
Yeah. Spoiler alert, Nirvana is not represented on my top 10 list, so I'm glad it's on yours. The number 8 song of summer 2024 for me is going to be My Wave from Soundgarden's Super Unknown album. Just another good hard driving song that's got a lot of excitement about it. I've always loved the lyric, don't come over here and piss on my gate, save it, just keep it off my wave. And that's the attitude that you got to approach the summertime with. You can't let anybody get between you and what you need to do and what you want to do. So that's why that song is number 8 on my list.
That's awesome. Another great one. I got a Soundgarden song coming up later on the list. Only one though. With 10 you get like, 1 or 2 from each band if we're doing, a more confined list. So my next one, first Pearl Jam reference for me. This one was an easy, obvious choice. I would be surprised if it wasn't on your list, but if you weren't thinking this way, maybe it wasn't, but I'm going with Dissident.
No, yeah. I'm upset with myself that that's not on my list.
Yeah, of course. The guitar is like, it just sounds like I'm cracking a beer. You know what I mean? It sounds like freedom. Bang, 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 bang.
Yep. That's amazing. That riff has saved our lives many times.
And it will many times more.
That's the thing. You got to play, what works in the summertime. So that's a great number 7 entry for you. We're going to deviate from the grunge path for my number 7. And it is going to be the song I Can't Help Myself by the Four Tops. Classic 60s song. This just screams like barbecuing to me. Like you're outside barbecuing, with everybody that you like, and you got a nice cold one in your hand, and the hot dogs and the hamburgers are almost ready to come off the grill. This one is strongly influenced by our recent obsession with the 60s, as some songs in the future on my list are going to be as well.
This is great. We're definitely going to make a playlist with these 20 songs on it. I'm already like...
I'm getting excited. I'm already getting excited for the weekend so I can listen to these.
Yeah, I know. That's good. So... my next song, we're going Alice in Chains, and this one probably a little different than what everybody may expect, but I'm going with Over Now.
Wow.
Off the Tripod album. Yeah, and this one seemed like a good middle of the set, but I'm just picturing like On the Job, and this song comes on, and he goes, "Oh man, like they never play this one. Like that's a good song," and we're just like pumped up because it's not necessarily the hit, right, but we all love it. And we pay our debt sometime,
Mm-hmm.
That's how the job. That's what you want. You want the job to be over now.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the thing about listening to the radio. Like, for classic rock radio and even like top 40 radio, like there's only like a set number of songs that
Right.
you're going to hear from each band. And like with Chains, you're going to hear Man in the Box, you're going to hear Rooster, you're going to hear Wood.
Yes.
But something a little different, that feeling of excitement when you hear it
Yes.
come on the radio, like, holy shit, I didn't expect to hear
Yeah.
this. Like anytime, for example, I hear Dissident on the radio, I send you a
Yeah.
Snapchat, because it's just an exciting event. And that's the joy that comes with not being in control of what's being streamed your way.
Yes, and that's exactly how I approached this. I was like, what is just going to like pump us up? And like, oh, like I forgot about this one. Like, I'm so glad that our boss DJ was on his A game today.
Yeah,
and he gave
exactly.
us like they got, it's like, here's Jumpin' Jack Flash for the 1,000th time in the last 3 hours. Not this time.
The hits keep on coming.
The hits keep on rolling.
That's amazing. Speaking of hits keep on coming, my number 6 song is also going to be from Alice in Chains, but it's going to be Man in the Box. It's played every goddamn day for a reason, because it's a great goddamn song, and it's just perfect. It's perfect for any time of year, really, but we've all had those circumstances when we've either been solo or with fellow Chains lovers in the car or wherever, and we all try our best to let that chorus scream out, and this is a fun one for sure.
Yeah, I think it's documented. That's one of my favorite Chains songs, and we may be hearing from it a little bit later. Yeah. But for now, I'm going to the Soundgarden well, and again, this one I'm just picturing like something that you want to hear when you're trying to get through the job, and you're just trying to get the job done. It's The Day I Tried to Live.
Oh yeah.
And you're just, you're out there, and sometimes all you can think about is getting off the job, right? And you're just like, it's
like life begins when I drive away from the site.
Yeah, like 12:06 is lunch, and 3:30 we're packing up, type of thing. Like, maybe earlier if it's a Friday. So
exactly,
it's always, every day is the day I tried to live.
Yeah, man, that's a great one. So we're in the top 5 now. So that's the start of your top 5 there with The Day I Try to Live. I like that.
Yeah, I'm just saying. I just thought that it was Soundgarden. Soundgarden could be. Actually, that's my only Soundgarden song on the list. I could have went with a ton of Soundgarden songs, but I decided to do a little less.
Yep. So we're entering my top 5, and the top 5 does not look like the 6 through 10 on my list. There were a lot of songs in contention from this particular artist, but in my opinion, Joe Cocker needed to be represented. The Cock Father, and there's so many songs of his that I could.
Is that his actual nickname?
No, it's definitely not.
That's your
Cock Father. Joe Cocker, Feeling All Right. Not an original, but he was the king of covers. I was thinking about maybe putting Space Captain on here. She came in through the bathroom window, but Feeling All Right. That's what it's all about. That's what this time of year is all about, and this is just an absolute powerhouse banger of a song. And it's just perfect. This is one that will, if you're not in the mood, it's going to get you in the mood to have a good day.
Awesome. Really good. My number 4, going Pearl Jam for this one.
Cool.
And primarily for, again, same thing, a little bit of shock value, but really it's going to just, the second half of the song is going to bring us home. And I'm going with Leash. Drop the fucking leash.
Yes.
And I dude, something, like I said, we're just trying to get off the job. Like I said, we're halfway through the rock block hour, and I love this song. I really do love Leash. Every time it comes on, it really gets me pumped up. Yeah. Great soloing, obviously, and
absolutely
just great melody.
Yeah, I'm noticing a trend here. When you put our 2 lists together, your list is going to be the perfect one to listen to during the day, and then when you get off work, you segue into my list here a little bit.
Yes.
So we're in perfect unison. We're working together, and we didn't even know it. We put these lists together pretty shortly before we started to record this. This song, number 4 on my top songs of summer 2024, would not have been anywhere close to my list had we done this exercise 2 weeks earlier. But the 60s and 70s fever has struck, just like Ringo Starr was struck with illness in 1964. And my song is going to be from Todd Rundgren, and it is a song called Wolfman Jack. And if you don't know this song, just picture the perfect song that you would be listening to in 1972 with one of those old beer cans with the punch tops, sitting on the grill of a car with your buddies outside of town before you go in. And the song is called Wolfman Jack, and this ties in perfectly to our recent obsession. Wolfman Jack was a famous radio DJ in the 60s, 70s, 80s, and all the way until his death. And there's some great lore behind this song. Todd Rundgren had a dream where this song came to him, and in this dream, he was dreaming, and he was driving down Mulholland Drive in Los Angeles, and Wolfman Jack was on the radio, and he introed and played this song. Talk about inspiration. You know, he's just dreaming away, and then the big Wolfman Jack is like, here we go from Todd Rundgren, the next song. And it was this song, and I guess, you know, in the days that ensued after that mighty dream, he created this song. It's a really, really great song, and it's perfect for summertime.
Dang, man. Yeah, this is a very interesting list. We're basically doing a top 20 going back and forth, and yeah, I love it. This is a great addition.
All right, top 3 metal position now.
Yeah, top 3. So as I said, Stone Temple Pilots definitely like have a I love when they come on the radio because it's just the perfect band for it. And obviously they're not as big as the other big 4, so you maybe get a little bit less. But I'm going to go with Wicked Garden for my third position. This song is probably one of my favorites. Just always a really consistent song from their catalog, and I can listen to it every time. And we need it to finish up the last 2 hours on the job, basically.
Yeah, the gloves are coming off at that point.
Yep.
Number 3 for me, there's a couple things that go into this. The last couple of weeks go into this, and also my mom's music taste goes into this. We're going to go to Aretha Franklin for number 3 for me. Once again, from her discography, there's a lot of contenders, but I'm going to go with The House That Jack Built. A couple of days ago, I was getting ready to go out and meet my friends out, and I was just shuffling around some music, and this one came on, and I made the decision. I paused the music and I waited. I was like, I'm not listening to this until I'm done getting ready. I'm in the car driving to see my friends. Yep. And it was perfect. So once again, summertime is such a good time for that soul sound, and this song delivers.
Man, I should have guessed that Aretha would be on the list.
Yeah, she's on the list.
All right, next one for me is, an absolute classic, something that, if you hear it on the radio, you're excited, and maybe you don't know the genesis of the band. We obviously know them very well, but Hunger Strike by Temple of the Dog. I remember hearing it 10, almost maybe 15 years ago, and like, being really excited. Same thing, like, this is a great tune. Like, the story behind this, all the talk that comes with it, and I guess it gets good radio play. I don't know. I haven't listened to too much radio nowadays, but like,
me neither. This one almost made my list too.
Yeah, this one makes a ton of sense.
Yeah, absolutely. I went through a solid 2-year stretch when I was in college, and the subsequent summers in between the semesters, where my friends and I would try to hijack the aux cord at the party or at the function, and this was a go-to along with Alive. Easy to sing no matter what you've been doing to that point so far. Anybody can sing it, and that's a great song. We're going to move
everybody's
forward.
Singing Eddie's part. Yeah,
exactly. And then the best, if you have somebody who really knows the song, somebody takes Chris's part, somebody takes Ed's, and then at the end, when you're just layering perfectly seamlessly at 1:30 in the morning in somebody's house,
1:30 in the morning or 2:30 on the job.
Exactly. It's a song for all seasons.
Yes,
that's amazing. No Chris Salona list would be complete without an entry from Bruce Springsteen. And I often tell people, there was a period of time where after I had gotten like an aux cord plug-in for my car and went away from the world of CDs, there were 2 CDs that I would have in my car. One would be for the summertime and the early fall, and then the other one would be for the winter and spring until it warmed up, and I deemed the switchover necessary. In the winter months, it was Darkness on the Edge of Town by Bruce Springsteen. And I would take that out as soon as the temperatures hit the 60s and 70s, and I would put in Born in the USA, the fantastic Springsteen album. And there's no better summer song on that album, in my opinion, than Darlington County. It is just an absolute rocker, and it's about two guys going into the city who don't have much money, but they're willing to lie, cheat, and steal their way into a good night. And regardless of whatever subsequent prosecutions and arrests would happen, they're there to have a good time on the 4th of July. So perfect
Maybe
entry.
steal a horse.
Maybe steal a horse. Exactly. Well, legend has it, I think, I interviewed Kenny Chesney in the aftermath of that, and they were listening to Born in the USA prior to that event. Good. So that's my number 2. I listen to that song very frequently in the summer, and I think you should too.
Perfect. That takes us to the number 1 spot for both our lists. And I have the, the penultimate, but then you have the final say.
The last word.
The number 1 song.
The last word in summer hits.
You have the hammer. So it was already said on the list before, but Man in the Box needs to be played.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a little cheap, but like you said, we need the hits. And the list, the number one, like, you want to play around 8 through, or 2 through 10, no problem. But when you get to number 1, you need to know that it's going to deliver. And Man in the Box has it all. It's got the solo, it's got the sing along, like we can all yell. And that's how you feel. You feel like the man in the box, whether you're in the truck, you're in the gravel, like you're just the man in the box out there in any job. So yeah, very important that you're listening to this during the summer.
Yeah, that's awesome. Absolute behemoth there.
It is.
And it's the hit. It's the majors, like we said, and this one bats 1,000 every year with 400 home runs and instant Hall of Famer. My top selection, this song, I have yet to meet a person who doesn't like this song, and it's not a song that I think everybody knows. It does get played on the radio a lot, but it is just a perfect fucking song. And I'm going to Bob Seger. I'm going to Ramblin' Gamblin' Man. This is just what you want to be listening to. Once again, heavily influenced, by my obsession as of late with the 60s and 70s. I've got it playing in my headphones right now as I talk about it. And man, I will never get tired of this song. It was funny. One time when I was in college, one of my track and field coaches, he and I were talking about music, and somehow we started talking about Bob Seger or whatever. And he's like, "You want to know my favorite Bob Seger song?" I was like, "Yeah, I'd love to. I would absolutely love to know everybody's favorite Bob Seger song." He pulls out his phone.
Should be in everybody's bio.
Exactly. He pulls out his phone and he goes to his Photos app and he finds a video of him. He was just sitting in his car when Ramblin' Gamblin' Man came on, and he recorded the whole thing. And he's like, "I love this song so much. I need to have it on demand."
That's right. I'll always have it.
It was absolutely
no
electric.
Ads, no nothing.
No ads, no internet, no problem. I've got it on demand. And this song, like, I don't speed when I drive. Like I'm kind of a grandpa driver, but this one what makes you get in the left lane and gets you pushing the pace a little bit.
That's so good.
Yeah, Ramblin' Gamblin' Man. It was before Bob Seger's national prominence. He really rose to prominence with an album that he put out in the 70s called Live Bullet. Bang, bang, bang. And obviously the Night Moves album to follow, and then Nine to Night. But this one was a little bit before it, but it's got to be one of his best songs, undoubtedly. It is my top song for summer 2024.
So I have when you were just talking and you were saying how it needs to be, everybody knows the song, favorite song. I had a song come to me that I listened to on the golf course the other day. And if I wasn't grunge, this is the first song once you get off the job. This to me, this is the number 1 summer song ever.
Wow.
This is it, Chris. And I think you will agree with me. This one is so special for so many reasons. We have to bring up Spirit in the Sky by Norman Greenbaum.
Yes.
Absolute killer of us. So we got Sandlot memories coming in, playing on the small diamonds when you're in the little league, playing with your buddies, catching up with oh my gosh, like it's just the Spirit in the Sky. Like,
who is Norm Greenbaum? What else did he did? I don't know, and I don't care.
It doesn't matter. It does not matter.
Spirit in the Sky. That is fantastic.
So good.
It's the best. It's probably been on every single summer playlist I've made since I began making playlists back in my youth. Dude, once again, everybody knows it. Like you get people who like don't like don't even like music or like classical music or something, everybody knows Spirit in the Sky, and everybody knows when they die and they lay you to rest, you're going up to the place that's the best.
Exactly. Like I said, the Spirit in the Sky. What a just a perfect song title, perfect lyrics, and just an incredible guitar work. Like the chugging and then I'm pumped up.
Yeah, Journey could never with Wheel in the Sky. They could never touch what Big Norm did with Spirit in the Sky, because that's where we're going up to when we die. One note here, I'm shocked, and I had the thought earlier, and I'm shocked. I think I just couldn't choose because they all fit. But there's no CCR on anybody's list. No Creedence.
I was literally about to. That was my next thing. There was no Creedence.
Yeah,
and that is surprising. I was actually thinking about this the other day, and I wanted to one of my random thoughts throughout the day that you probably could do an episode on. And I was like, isn't it crazy that like CCR like it's like the soundtrack to a major war that happened?
Yeah,
like
extensively about it.
Music had such a impact during that time that like it really like it's like in the history books basically.
Yes,
like Fortunate Son and all.
You can't tell the story of the 60s politically, militarily, or socially without music. And I don't think there has been an era since even the grunge era that parallels the importance of music and how much it provided commentary for the social consciousness of the time and also informed the social consciousness of the time. I mean, you had protest songs in the top 10 every week for years, which is unbelievable.
It really is. Like I said, it blows my mind to think that like it's just so connected.
Yeah, it really is.
I mean, it's pretty cool. Like it really is.
Yeah. You know how they always say on December 1st, like Mariah Carey comes out of hibernation. Come June 1st, John Fogerty's stretching out and he's ready to go.
And by July 4th, he has a stranglehold
he has
on
ripping.
Another song that came to mind. See, like this is just like one of those exercises.
Yeah, you go tit for tat for forever.
Like another song needs to be on the list, and I've been listening to a ton. "Dirty Work" by Steely Dan.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah. So good.
Because then you segue into like the Dirty Works of the world, the jet airliners of the world. Yeah. I mean, and it just goes on and on and on.
The White Rabbits.
Yeah, like you said the word stranglehold. I don't like Ted Nugent, but like you put him on the list too and let him rip.
Oh my gosh,
it just goes on.
A night drive to the club or to meet your buddies. You're listening to "Breaking the Law" by Judas Priest.
Hey, "Living After Midnight."
Yeah,
there's just so many good ones out there. Oh man, this could go on forever and ever. But those are our top 10 lists. This is what we are going to be listening to for summer 2024. You can give your feedback and make your own list and send it to us, and we'll have a good little chat about it. Perhaps we can make live a playlist where you can contribute your top songs for summer 2024, and we can get a big old soundtrack to what is hopefully a good summer for each and every one of us. I am running out of time here. I've got somewhere I have to be. But thank you for listening to this episode. I guess songs of the week would just be this playlist. I can't possibly pick one.
Yeah, we got about 25 to 30 songs for sure on that list, and we'll put them together and we'll make it collaborative, and we'll get a big thing going for the summer.
Yeah, we absolutely will. Well, Ethan, this was fantastic, but I believe our hour is almost up. It's time for the other DJs to get in here and take over. We hope you've enjoyed your time with us. June is here, summertime is here, and we'll be back next week with episode number 168. But until then, just keep on rocking.
That's right, man. Drive carefully, be independent. Bang, 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 bang. Thank you, everybody.
Bang.
Have a great week. See you guys.